for your reference in the future. I like doing these on Wednesdays because we can kind of get ahead of the game and we have some time here to ask questions. And I also mentioned in a previous email that I will be conducting another one of these Friday evening for anyone that would like a refresher course that didn't have, enough time really to see the recording or to go through the materials. I'm available. I'm also available all weekend. And of course, throughout the whole enrollment, you guys have my phone number. So let's start with that. We're going to start with Jim. He's going to show us the system. We're going to go over the benefit information that's that's on my screen here as well with Julie and Guillermo. And then we're going to move on to the logistics, the schedule, and so on, which I've had that for weeks now. So let me pass over control here to Jim. Okay, Jim, it's all you.
Okay, great. Great, are you guys able to see here?
Yes.
Not sure if we're showing the screen yet. Okay. Welcome screen here?
Yes.
Great, okay. So the employees might have the direct link to the logon screen for self-service.
Okay.
I'm just going to show you a different way of getting there to start off with. So commonbenefits.com. So the name of our enrollment platform is Common Benefits. And what you can do is you go to the screen and you enter in the company name. So Mission Health, you pick it from the list. You're going to click the individual button. Administrator would be for the administrator side, the administrator portal, but self-service is the individual button.
Got it.
Takes you to the logon screen. Now you have two ways of people getting into the system. The first way is if someone enrolled last year during open enrollment, or they were a new hire this year and they enrolled through self-service, they're going to have an existing account. The second situation is where someone is going through the system for the first time, and they would have to create an account this way. So what I'm going to show you is someone that has an account now. So they're going to enter in their username, and we did provide the list of user accounts yesterday. So you guys have that if the employee cannot remember it.
Yes, I have it, and I'll distribute it to the enrollers.
Sure. So they're going to enter in their password. Now, if they don't remember their password, they can click the forget password link. It's going to require them to enter their username and reset password. It's then going to send an email message to the email account we have on our record, which for most people is going to be their home email address. So that's just how you would do that. So let me start over here. Health Community, individual. We're going to log in with the test account here. It's going to take them to what we call an onboarding screen. So it's just going to give them details about the enrollment here, so they can scroll through this and look at different features. So this is the first screen they're going to see when they log in. Click Continue. Takes them to the second screen. So we're going to go through these screens up here in order. So your information, the dependents, additional information, benefits, and finally a summary screen. Some areas have subsections. So your information has like basic demographics and then their contact information. So we're just going to make sure everything is correct here. Some fields are optional, like middle initial is not filled in here. I can just go ahead and enter one. You can enter in a mobile phone, email address if they already have one on their account. Continue. It's going to take us to the address information. It should default to a mailing address for most people. Some people might have added in a separate mailing address last year, but you can double check what it is by unchecking that and make any changes if you need to. Again, so we went from basic information to address. I'm going to click continue. Takes them to a dependent screen. So most people that have gone through the system before, if they have dependents, it's going to show on here. What the system is going to ask you to do, though, is verify that the information is still current. What we don't want to do is delete dependents. So if someone says, well, that's my ex-wife or something, we're just going to leave them on the system, and we're going to just make sure that that person doesn't get enrolled in any coverage, or if they were enrolled in coverage, they get removed. And we'll show you how to do that. But we don't want to delete dependents off the system.
Okay.
So if you want to create a new dependent, so they had a newborn during the year, let's add dependent. And you just enter in the basic information here. And select the gender. And you can click this to use the same address as the dependent, as the employee. And continue. Now for children, it's going to make me select a relationship type. So I can just say natural born, continue. So it says reviewed. So we created a new dependent. It says you reviewed that person already on the system. If I click continue here, it takes me into the first dependent record. They're going to have to verify their information, make sure this is all still correct. Click continue. Takes them into the next dependent record. One thing that you may find is relationship type isn't specified. Go ahead and pick that for the child. Click continue, and continue again, and it takes us to the next section. So we went through your information, dependents, additional information. Now I can jump back to a prior section by just clicking on it.
Yeah.
I can't jump ahead.
Jim, do we need to actually click through those dependent screens there?
You do, yes. So it's going to ask you to verify each and every dependent to make sure the information is still accurate.
Okay.
Yep. Once they've been through the site once and then they log back in, that step is already completed. They don't have to do it again.
Okay.
Additional information. These are just text fields. This is newly added this year, so most people are not going to have any information in here. So, if they want to specify an emergency contact, that's great.
Is it required?
That would be a question for Julie. Do you want to require this?
No. I don't want to make your guys' lives miserable if they don't want to put something in there. Lately, I've noticed, though, people have gone in and they are filling this out, as a one-off. So I don't think it'll be that difficult to get them to do it, but I'm not opposed if they want to pass on it.
Sure. And you can just skip right through it.
Okay.
Okay. So in this record that we're looking at is someone that would have enrolled last year for open enrollment. So you're going to see coverages that are already enrolled. So it's a passive enrollment, so they don't have to make any changes. So let's just talk a little bit about the interface here. So we got different sections here. So on the benefit screen, you got available benefits, and you got requested and current benefits. So this is what they're currently enrolled in. So this person enrolled last year. The coverage got carried over to this year's plans. So in this case, the person has a medical, dental. You'll see the last year's benefits because it's still in that plan year, but you can't make any changes to those, and so on. So I am gonna, and under available, it'll be new coverages that the person is eligible to enroll in.
So then, Jim, the current benefits, that's view only, right? We're not doing anything in that section?
Well, in this case, since it was a passive enrollment, we carried over the coverage. So it's going to show them enrolled in those coverages. So like the 2020 plan year medical.
I see. Yes.
Yep. So you can modify enrollment. See, the button's going to be different over here. But the 2019 medical is just going to be view only. You can see what they had.
Okay.
There's no changes are permitted. So that's just a clue to you guys that maybe you're looking at the 2019 version.
I see. So if I want to change from the PPO to the HSA, I'm going to go down to the current plan. 2020
Yep.
is the one I'm going to modify,
Yep.
and I'm going to make my new election there.
Yep. And you can either waive it if they don't want it anymore. You can go ahead and edit enrollment. It's going to ask you a tobacco question because that determines the rate that they pay.
Okay.
And then you can go ahead and pick the different plan.
I see.
Yep. They have to pick who's covered. You just uncheck the name. So let's just do family coverage in the HSA. And I accept. And the self-service site is going to require them to make a decision on each and every benefit. So they have to enroll or waive all the coverages. So these remaining benefits here, with some decision has to be made on them. So let's go to the health savings account. Roll. And they're going to enter in their annual election amount. So if I put in like a really large number, it's going to cut it back to the max for their family tier.
Right.
Number of pay periods per year. So this is what that amount is based on. And they're enrolled. So I can just go back out to the main menu. The vision benefit. So this is going to be newly enrolled.
And that one disappeared from the list because it went down.
It goes down to the lower section.
Yeah.
So say if they didn't want this coverage, I'm not interested. They can pick a reason.
Okay.
Yeah, and we may take that off for the vision. That should only appear for the medical, actually, to capture the waiver reason. The short-term disability. Very basic. It's just 60% of their benefit.
Right.
Continue. And just go back out to the main menu. Now, the pet benefit is new this year, so you're not going to have anyone that's enrolled in it.
Right.
There's 3 different options available. So they have to,
Okay.
someone can enroll in more than one option. We have to break it out separately here.
Gotcha.
So this is the individually underwritten one. So this one, I mean, you can capture the employee's intention if they liked coverage, but they ultimately have to go out to Pet Plus's website and actually enroll their pet that way because it's individually underwritten. These other 2, we can capture it. We'll show a deduction amount on the system.
So the insurance part, yeah, that's right. They have to go get a quote, right? Because it depends on the breed and everything.
Yeah, each animal is individually underwritten, so we don't have that information on our system. So.
I got you.
Yep. But we can at least capture interest, the person's interest in it. You know, so if they want it, we can just accept it, and then we can follow up with them after.
Okay.
They got so in this particular version of the pet benefit, this is a single pet plan or an unlimited pet plan. So they can cover one animal or multiple pets. And just some bullet points here on what's covered. So this is just a straight off 25% off discount. Continue. And accept it. Again, it's a pretty basic benefit. Same thing with the Pet Plus prescription. Just click right on it. Information there. Continue. And some of those text blurbs may change. We'll have the pet carrier review that to make sure they want it worded that way. But in Pets Best, this one may not work. I don't think it's fully set up yet, but it's basic information, and we'll have the link in here where I can direct them to their website. But if I get a quote, continue, there's no cost associated with it. We'll go back down to that, but at least we can capture their interest in it. So if they waive it, we know they don't want it. If they say yes,
okay,
then someone follow up with them just to make sure they really do want it.
Okay.
And so these are all the enrolled coverages. Let's go ahead and just waive one of them though. If I go into the dental that was enrolled last year, carried over to this year, they don't want it anymore, and confirm that. And Now we have a new section here, waive decline benefits. If they want to actually, they change their mind and they really do want the coverage, just click right on the benefit name. You can quick get a quote, pick who's covered, and enroll it that way. Buy a plan. The rates that display here on the medical, dental, vision are going to be based on semi-monthly. So it's going to change based on which family members are covered. So you see the rates are changing based on coverage tier and the plan. Continue.
And then semi-monthly regardless of how many pay periods the person has?
Exactly. So there are some employees that are paid bi-weekly, but they're deducted semi-monthly. That's all the different benefits here. So again, it's going to make the employee go through each one, make a decision. You would then go continue here, which would take you to a summary screen. But let's talk about some of the other features first. So we have some additional tools that are available. So benefit statements. Actually, nothing will show up on the benefit statement until coverages are approved on the administrator portal. So employees made an election. Those elections don't actually go into effect until approved. So there's nothing to report on the benefit statement yet until those benefits are actually in the approved status. So it's going to generate here a minute or two and automatically download. But again, it's just not going to show any deductions. So just
okay.
Yep. Decision support are just some different calculators. So if the person's interested in, long-term or life insurance, these are just basic tools. And Paychecker is their estimated taxes based on different circumstances here. So again, these are just, I don't know how often these tools get used, but they are available on the side here. Under menu here, we have company documents. So these are actually last year's documents, so we'll make sure they're updated for this year. And it's just like a benefits enrollment guide. And downloads it, just a PDF document, and the employee can look at it that way. So if the employee was on their own, this is a way they could get this information.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go back out to your enrollment. So we have 3 tools that display here, but for some reason the company documents, you have to go through the menu here to get to them.
Okay.
The person's name is right here. If they get called away, so they're sitting with you guys, they're going through self-service, and they get called away and they have to go somewhere else and they're going to want to do this later, they can just click log out, and they can log back in at a later time.
Okay.
Again,
all right.
Any section I've been to, but I can't jump ahead. So let's just continue here. Just a summary screen. These sections can be hidden and displayed.
Right.
The way just verify right before they sign off. I'm going to click continue here. It's going to make them pick a decision here. If they're finished, they've enrolled and waived all the products, they're pretty sure that they're finished for this year's open enrollment. You can click finish and submit your enrollment. It finalizes it for them. And they can do a statement here. It's just what they've enrolled in. And notice it says pending approval because it's not yet approved.
Okay.
If they're approved, they go back on the site. It will show them what their coverages are. I'm just going to cancel out of here. We're going to log out. Now, if I wanted to log back in as that person, which one it was? Because I picked that I am finished with this. We went kind of like through a wizard. When they say I am finished,
yes,
that wizard is finalized. So they can just jump ahead to any section now.
Okay.
It's not going to guide them on the screen. So that's the main difference.
All right.
If the person logged out prior to getting to that last screen, and they logged back in, it would take them to the last completed screen they were on.
Okay.
And so let's log out of here. back to the main screen. We're going to go to like a new employee here that's never been on the site. I just want to show you the account creation process. Whoops. Type it in, actually. There we go. So this is someone that's never been on the site. Create account. It's going to ask them, first it has to identify who they are in the system. So it's going to ask for some identifying information. So it's just going to ask for an SSN. Last name. Date of birth. It's going to use this information to identify them in the system. It's going to ask them to pick a service account name. Just do. And it's going to ask them to enter security questions. So this is for password reset purposes. They can pick any question, answer combination they want. Like favorite color. Let's just say blue. These are just free-form text answers. First car. So the answers are case sensitive. So if they were presented with this question answer and they didn't use the right case, it wouldn't identify them. So, you might just want to have them do them all in lowercase. Keep it simple. Create account. Then they would log in with that account information.
Okay.
And same screen that we saw before.
Okay.
They would walk through it that way. So one thing I did want to talk about, so let's just go through this pretty quickly. So this is someone that's never been on the system before. They're not going to have any dependents here. So let's just add a quick spouse. The one thing we didn't look at, so this person's never been on self-service, so most of the benefits are going to show as available.
Right.
Requested and current would just be their auto-enrolled coverages. So in this case, it's going to be the basic life and AD&D. So they see one for last year and one for this year.
Okay.
They wanted to modify, add in beneficiaries to their basic life. They can just click modify that, edit it, and pick their beneficiaries that way. So I know I went through that pretty quickly, but what I wanted to show you though was the actual term life. And the not available one is the HSA because they have to pick the HSA plan first. But
There you go. Okay.
term life, I may not have it in this session actually. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Voluntary term, yeah.
Yep. I'm going to click enroll here. And because I don't have a child here, I'm not presented with an option for a child benefit. If I pick $200,000 for the employee, spouses can be covered up to 50% of that benefit up to $50,000. So the GI limit is $30,000 though for the spouse.
Right.
If I go to $50,000, and maybe that's not set right, it should prompt them for EOI information. His beneficiaries. So I can skip contingent if they don't want to pick one. I can skip a beneficiary for the spouse, but I have to pick a primary one for the employee.
So the system will notify if you need an EOI for the spouse.
Yeah, and here in this situation, as you can see here on the summary screen, it only allowed up to $30,000. $20,000 is pending.
Okay.
there's a document I'm going to add here with instructions on how to enter in evidence of insurability. It changed in the middle of last year how Lincoln wanted that. They want the employee going out to a separate website and answering the health questions that way, rather than being collected in the benefit itself. So that will be something that's added to this particular benefit.
So I forget your answer from our last call. Will it also notify the employee when they need EOI?
No, unfortunately, it will not. We can't set it up conditionally. So that'll something that would have to be followed up on. We'll set something up so that the Mission Health team knows that people that do need to, and where they do need evidence of insurability information. And before our call today, individuals with in-force coverage from last year's enrollment, so the 2019 voluntary term life, if they want to increase that, they're allowed to go 2 increments without having to do evidence of insurability. More than 2 increments, and they are going to have to supply that.
That's for the employee, 2 increments.
That is for the employee, 2 increments.
Okay. I'm not seeing any Chubb products here.
That's what I was just about to. I must not have included that on the session. So let me do a quick log out here, and we'll go ahead and add that in on the administrator side here. So this is nothing the benefits counselors have to worry about. It's just, I'm just going to update the self-service settings right now to include the Chubb products.
Yep.
Okay, so they changed the name on me. So Chubb must be actually making some updates here. October new hires, November new hires.
It's not there.
Let me save this setting. Let's go look at the benefit list because they changed the name on me here. Sorry about that.
And then you're going to be providing a link and a test environment so the enrollers can kind of practice a little bit?
Yeah, they will have test accounts they can go through.
Great.
So she's calling it LBT now. Okay, new hires and all others is what it is then. All right, so we log back in. It starts off where we left off, and now we have the Chubb products. So it's pretty basic enrollment here. So for your folks that have in-force accident coverage, it's just a straight replacement. So if they had like family coverage last year and they want family and spouse coverage this year, it's just going to replace that effective 1/1/2020.
Will it be listed in the group of products in the lower section since it's already enrolled?
It would be. If they have coverage from last year, it's going to be showing under the current coverage section.
And we would not actually need to touch it then, in reality.
If they don't want to make a change, you don't have to touch it at all.
Okay.
Same thing for the critical illness. If I answer no to actively at work, they are not eligible for the coverage.
Right.
So say yes, continue, pick your plan based on in coverage tier, and beneficiaries, it defaults to the spouse if there's one on the system. They can create a new one by keying in the information there. And continue. I accept. So it goes under current benefits then, and they wanted to change that. They just click run on it, modify enrollment, and just go through the enrollment again.
Right, right.
Do the CI. So this has a tobacco question.
Right.
They pick their tier and the benefit amount. So your individuals that have in-force coverage, if they have $20,000, there's nothing they can do. They got the full benefit amount. The only thing that could change is the coverage tier. If they have 10,000, you're just going to enroll them into 20,000. Chubb on their end is going to determine who's actually increasing, and they'll handle it on their end, because this premium that displays here has the wellness rider factored into it. So people with in-force coverage, we don't want them to pay a second fee for the wellness rider. And again, that's something Chubb is going to handle on their end. So this amount might be actually a little less for the employee.
And that one's also displayed monthly. That's a difference from the medical dental vision.
It is, and we'll have them update that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's just them working on the benefits as we're doing our training here.
Okay. I think you said before, Jim, that the Chubb products will be displayed weekly.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Not on this, on our previous call.
Yep. So you're going to see them weekly right here. So coverage tier and plan, so $2.90 weekly, but this will be their actual deduction frequency. It'll be semi-monthly. We'll have, like I said, we'll have them.
Oh, I see. It shows them both on one screen. Okay.
So the plan information for the employee's choice is weekly, but the actual deduction information over here will be semi-monthly. Yep. And LVT. So this is a little more complicated because it's a life insurance. I'll see if they can't turn off this video. They had some problems last year for the enrollment with the videos, so we'll try to turn them off if we can. Get cost estimate. Same basic layout. So yes, tobacco question. Quote for the employee first. Their amount. If you hover your mouse over these items, you can see what that rider covers.
Right.
They can do it to child rider. Pick the amount for it. If I had a child record here and I picked a child record, you couldn't get an individual quote for them. It automatically enrolled them under child rider. Quote for the spouse. Simplified issue. So for this particular product, we are collecting health information on the system. So are they currently hospitalized? If I say yes. Okay, some of these are going to prompt for more information. This might just exclude the coverage for the person. So we have petition guarantee issue questions. I say yes, I think I have to put in details. I'm just going to say no. If the employee asks, this information is secure. Mission Health communities cannot see any of this. This is encrypted on our system. I can't even look at it. It's sent directly to Chubb with the enrollment data, and they make their decisions based on that.
So no guarantee issue at all on the life.
Certain benefit amounts are really, oops.
Yeah, you did select a high amount there.
Yeah, I did. I just wanted to have this display. Oh, we got to fill out a page first. So let's go back. So what's happening on this screen? So the employee might get a little confused here. They're clicking submit, nothing's happening. They got to fill out this paperwork here for a long-term care supplement. Fill out, answer the questions. And I'm just going to say no for everything for simplicity here. Okay, let's designate a person, they key in the information there. Continue. And it's a ping signature. So this is just the last 4 digits of their SSN, and this is what it is for this person. Mother's maiden name is not stored on our system. They can type anything they want. But now they've enrolled in that coverage. Again, that's probably one benefit that's going to take the longest to enroll in. Then again, they'd go through each benefit. If I click continue here, it would take me into the next benefit that's still showing, that's still available.
Yes.
They pick a decision. I'm not interested. They pick a waive reason. They click continue, takes them into the next benefit. They can enroll it, and so on. So, I mean, that's pretty much the enrollment system. Do you guys have any questions at this point?
I think I'm okay. The link with the test environment will be very helpful over the next few days, so we can get in there and do here, play around.
I'll send that out to you today, as well as the walkthrough guide that we have for the self-service site. So it's just screenshots and kind of just a guide of how you go through each screen. So that should be helpful as well.
We'll take it. Thank you.
Right. And so main thing we're going to add is the evidence of insurability information for the term life. Again, I can't set it conditionally, so you just got to have to know for new enrollees, spouse, if they get more than a $30,000 benefit, has to fill it out. Existing coverage, if they go more than 2 increments, they got to fill that out.
Yes. 2 increments.
And LBT will be, like I said, will take them the longest. That's the lifetime benefit term. That'll take them the longest probably to enroll in. And it's just that one screen where they have to fill out the paperwork. They may not understand what they're supposed to do on that particular screen.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thanks so much for joining, Jim.
Thank you. All right. Goodbye.
Thanks. Let's see. All right. I'm going to take control back again here. And it looks like Sue had a question. What if they have no email address for dependents, no email address, and for dependents, no social security number? Can we make one up, or do we move on? Julie, do you have the answer to that?
I believe for social security for dependent, I think it will allow you to bypass that.
Okay. And same, the email is not a required field, is it?
No. Majority of our staff should have an email address in there. That's how, when they onboard as a new employee with us, that's how we communicate with them for them to be able to complete the online onboarding. So we more than likely will have an email. If there's not one there, and highly encourage them to put one in, but I'm not going to strong arm somebody if they don't want to put one in.
Okay. So for my team, this is actually a site that we created just for you. This is only for enrollers. It is just a link, and I'll send it out after the call here, just for you, because it has other elements that employees are not privy to. Employees cannot find this site. It's totally buried. So we have the actual schedule here. We have the usernames for the accounts, which I'll go into. And then we have the plan documents, or most of the plan documents at least, are located here. So let me go over the schedule first, which we've all reviewed with you before. Nothing has changed. But how to read this, it's a little tricky because it's kind of small, but you can actually zoom in on it. But if you're going to ARMA, there is the contact person with the phone number. We highly recommend that you reach out to them and let them know that you're coming before you get on site, just so they know that that's going to happen. Of course, all these contacts are very well aware that this enrollment is going on. They're helping us to get the scheduling done. And then it has your times when you're going to be on site. Tab 2 of this has the location, addresses, and shifts and everything. So the address is on tab 2. The actual schedule is on tab 1. Actually, the address is there too. So we've color coded this, and you guys have had this for a long time now, so you shouldn't have any questions on it, but I'm always available. And if you scroll over, we have the names of the enrollers, what number each enroller is, and so on. So this is nothing new. We can talk about that offline if you have questions. The other one that I had already opened here, this is the second item right here on the training link here, which is the usernames for each employee. So I've just sorted them by last name, and you can click on a cell and do a Control F and type in somebody's name to find them, or you can just scroll down. But that's their username. But again, Julie tells us that everybody has their login information. This is just a helpful tool in case you need it, in case they can't remember their username at least. But they should know their password. Yes.
On your Excel, on that first line where it says company, last name, first name, could you set it so that it filters? So like if you do, so that each line filters, so that when you go to last name, if you click on the little filter box and type in the last name, it'll then pull that person to the top?
Yes, I can do that. That's a good point. So there's the usernames, just in case you need them. And then let's get into products here. So I have done a cursory review of the plans. There are 2 PPO plans and an HSA. G, please jump in, or Julie, please jump in and add to this. But I'm just going to kind of go through the plan documents, and I've made a lot of notes here with high-level information at least. So this is the first PPO plan, and we have the plan document here. $1,500 deductible for the employee, $3,000 for the family. That's in network, and you can see the out of network cost there as well. And then as I scroll down, how much does it cost to go to a doctor? So it's a $40 copay. Deductible does not apply for the primary, and it's actually $40 for the specialist too. Of course, out of network is always going to be different, and it's co-insurance in this case. So I'm just going to keep scrolling here. What if you have a test? 20% co-insurance in network, imaging, ambulatory surgery, emergency room, and so on. So preventive services, pregnancy, for example, copay, home health care, rehab, and so on. What if you need drugs? $20 copay for generics. And if you do a mail order, which is a 90-day supply, you get it for $50. And I'm going to stop here. Sue had another question. That's a good point. This plan summary is for 2019. We are awaiting the 2020 summaries, but we understand that there aren't any changes. Good point. Preferred brand name drugs, meaning that they're on the formulary, $50 copay or $100 mail order, and then non-preferreds, $75 and $188, and then specialty drugs, 20%. So that's plan one, $1,500, because that's the deductible. And then the $3,000, $6,000, $3,000 for the employee, $6,000 for the family. There's your out-of-pocket, excuse me, your out-of-network deductibles, and then your out-of-pocket maximums displayed here. Primary, $50 copay. Same for the specialists. And then 30% co-insurance for most of these items as well. Now, emergency room, there is a $300 copay followed by 30% co-insurance. Same thing. Pregnancy, $50. And then drugs, $20, $20, $50, and $75, basically. Generics, preferred brands, and non-preferred. Okay. And then we have an HSA. So as you saw in the system, there is a place to enter the contribution amount for your HSA if you select that plan. Otherwise, it won't be available to you. So $5,000 deductible for the individual, $10,000 for the family. And then with an HSA plan, you have to meet your deductible first before you have coverage. And then when you do have coverage, you pay co-insurance. So you can see the notes in each one of these: co-insurance after deductible, co-insurance after deductible, and you're going to see that. The one exception is preventive services. You know, under ACA, preventive services don't apply, so there's no charge for those. 30%. Office visits, no copay. You guys know how HSAs work. And that's about it for that. Julie or G, is there anything else to add about the medical plans? I don't believe there were changes, but is there anything, I mean, I just did high level here. Anything to add about those?
Nope, nothing from me. Julie, anything from you?
Nothing. Yeah, no, nothing from my side.
Okay. So 2 dental plans, base and a buy-up, both with Cigna. And the difference really, we have a $1,000 deductible in network versus $1,500 on the other one. So we have a, I'm sorry, calendar year maximum, sorry. $50 deductible is going to apply to your basic and major services, but not your diagnostic and preventive services. So it's $50 annual deductible for the individual, $150 for the family. You have 100% coverage in network for your diagnostic and preventive, x-rays, oral exams, etc., cleanings, and then 70% coverage for your basic services as they're outlined here after your $50 deductible once a year, and then other services 40% coverage. You do actually have out-of-network benefits here as well that are very similar. Let's see, what else about dental? There's all kinds of definitions down here. Oral evaluations twice a year, x-rays, bi-winged x-rays twice a year. If someone has questions about those, they're pretty well outlined here. And then the buy-up plan, $1,500 maximum. So it's going to be a little bit more expensive because the coverage is higher. $50 deductible, $180.50 instead of $170.40. That's really the only difference. Oh, orthodontia. Coverage for employee and all dependents. 50% coverage. $1,000 lifetime maximum on orthodontia, which is pretty standard. So 2 dental plans, 1 vision plan. Pretty basic, $10 eye exam or $10 copay for the eye exam, and $130 allowance for frames, which is pretty standard. I think it says here the frequency somewhere. Thought I saw it. Yeah, there it is. Lenses and lens upgrades once a year. Actually, it looks like everything is once a year.
They're all once a year.
Okay. All right. So 1 eye exam a year, 1 set of glasses once a year, and then you can get contacts in lieu of glasses. Again, the $130 allowance. All right. So life insurance. Now, when it comes to, well, we have company paid life insurance, and then there is voluntary supplemental term life. You guys are familiar with that. So the basic life insurance depends on the class of the individual. So I just have full-time employees here. So it's $25,000 benefit. It's employer paid. But there are other benefits, and they'll be displayed in the system. So full-time employees get $25,000. We have administrators get 2 times salary, up to $300,000. We have owners and executives get 2 times salary, up to $500,000. But it's a company-paid benefit. There's nothing really for you to do there. But I just had the one document here just to minimize confusion. And I can actually send these notes out to you as well. Let's see. Did I miss the sub life? No, I didn't put it on here. Okay. So supplemental term life, we were just talking about it. I didn't put it here. But the reason is it's not. It's kind of a high-level document, but I will stick it out here. So we talked about the fact that the spouse can get 50% of what the employee gets. Now that's an enroller monitored item. It's really the only one here that's enroller monitored, the sub-term life, where you're going to have to watch how much that cap is because the system won't cap it. So 50% of what the employee elects, and the guarantee issue amount is $30,000 for the spouse. That's for a new spouse. A new hire with a spouse. Guarantee issue initially is $30,000. Employee guarantee issue is $200,000 at initial enrollment. So as you go into the system and you see that an employee has $50,000, they'd like to increase. Jim just talked about the fact that they can get 2 increments. 2 increments increase guarantee issue. But I'm not sure that the system's going to notify you of that. It won't for the employee. So it's something that you have to keep an eye on and just notify the employee that they need to complete an evidence of insurability. Now, Christina, are you on here? You're probably on mute.
I'm here.
Okay.
I was on mute. I'm sorry.
No problem. So regarding EOI, were forms sent out, or do we know?
There should be, there's going to be some paper forms. Yeah, it's sent out because I asked. So if anyone does go over EOI, it should be there if they need it. So I'm going to follow up again and find out if that's going to, make sure that everything will be there.
Okay, and then I believe, they're trying to add the EOI document itself or a link to link out to complete EOI in the system. So two methods of doing it. If you do have evidence of insurability forms there on site, then you can distribute it to the employee when you see that they exceed guarantee issue. Now, you're probably going to have a handful, probably, very likely. But if you have them, they do need to know that they need to complete EOI. So if you have a paper form, give it to them. If you don't have a paper form, then they can log back into the system and complete it online. I don't know that we'll have time necessarily to complete it. I haven't seen it to know what kind of questions are on it. It's usually pretty cumbersome and time consuming. I don't know that we'll have time for that, but we'll see what it looks like later, and I'll follow up with you. You will have the Chubb worksite brochures. They have been delivered, or they're being delivered to all the locations now this week. So when you get to a new location, look for them. There will be just enough or so for the number of employees you're going to see.
I can attest that they are on their route. I've received mine in my office.
Okay, great. Julie, did you receive EOIs?
No, I've gone through everything that I've received. I don't see.
Okay.
Were they going to? Do you guys know if they were going to come out separately?
Well, they're separate.
I'm just seeing.
Yeah, they're not from Chubb. They're from Lincoln. So they.
Yeah, let me look in their thing. Hold on. Let me look in their little booklet here and see.
Okay.
Here's your enrollment form.
It looks like we're going to go over time here a little bit. Julie, are you okay for a few more minutes?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the booklet that came from Lincoln.
Yes.
And in the back of it, it speaks to, here's your enrollment form. There's an evidence of insurability checklist, and it points them to go online.
Oh, okay. 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 Well, we'll notify.
Brenda from Birmingham here. Obviously, I've had a time change difference, and I didn't get in until the tail end. So.
Okay. Brenda, I will follow up with you later, and thanks for joining. If you would, please mute your phone as well.
I'm sorry.
Can you mute your phone, please?
Yes.
Thanks.
Trying to. Okay, so I go into settings to do that?
No, just on, you just dialed in, right? Can you just mute your phone? Because we have a lot of feedback.
Okay, so if I mute my phone, am I still going to be able to hear you guys?
Yes. Yes. Thank you. All right, so Chubb Life Insurance, we touched on it just briefly in the system here, but it does have a long-term care benefit. It pays 4% of the death benefit for 25 months if the employee has a loss of 2 ADLs, activities of daily living, and it's a benefit that they can use for a long-term care facility or even home health care. So that LTC little form they had to fill out, that's the reason. Okay. It also has a restoration benefit, which restores 50% of your death benefit if you do use the long-term care benefit portion of this. So you will at least have 50% of your death benefit available for your beneficiary. So those are two features of it. This is actually a term product. This is a lifetime benefit term is what they call it, LBT, you saw in the system. It's a term product, but it actually covers you your entire life. It's a permanent term is what it is. It's kind of a hybrid product and has become pretty popular. So with the long-term care benefit and the restoration benefit, they're going to have permanent coverage for as long as they live. It's a guarantee, it's a permanent plan, so rates don't increase either as they get older. And there's some examples in here, but there's not much to show when it comes to the flyer here because there's just not much information. It is life insurance. The fact that it's permanent is a good thing, and like a company paid basic life, for example, you can't take it with you if you leave the company. So that's the benefit of the term. The accident.
Scott,
Yes. Yeah.
Scott, it's Ed. On that life LBT, the premium doesn't go down, but the benefit goes down when you hit 70 years old, correct?
There is an age reduction, and I'll actually go dig up the actual proposal, and I'll send that to all of you guys. That's a good point, though. There is an there's an age reduction, which reduces the death benefit amount. It doesn't go away, but that's a good point. Thanks. The accident plan, you guys are all familiar with the accident. So this one's a little bit different because it does have a sports package. So if you are participating, playing sports, can lead to injuries, there's an added benefit for that. 25% increase up to $1,000 specifically for that. So the accident plan pays on a fee schedule. It is 24-hour on and off the job coverage. Chuck calls it the Diamond Plan, and you can see the fee schedule here, listed here. I should also mention there is a $50 wellness benefit included per person once per year. So per covered person once a year, $50 wellness. And then the rates are displayed here as well. Of course, they're in the system, but you know, the idea is that if you're injured in an accident, you'll have some type of treatment, whether it's a doctor's visit or emergency room or whatever it might be, and you'll have actual, you can have crutches or whatever it might be. You can have follow-up treatments and so on. So the idea is that this can add up to, especially if you're on the HSA, it can be very helpful to get some funds right away because you'll have to pay out of pocket first. So that's the accident plan. These are all, the Chubb products are permanent and portable as well. Critical illness. Critical illness, you saw in the system two benefit options, 10,000 and 20,000. Of course, critical illness pays for diagnosis of a major disease. This benefit also has a recurrence option, so that if you're diagnosed, well, it says right here, if you have a paid critical illness benefit for one of the listed conditions here, and there's a recurrence separated by 6 months, you'll receive another benefit. And it gives an example here. So you have separate benefits, so heart attack, stroke, cancer, and so on. In this example, if you have a heart attack, you receive the $20,000 benefit, which you'll probably need. And then if you have a stroke, you get the other $20,000 benefit. So that's 40. And then if you have a recurrence, you can receive 60. But it's baked into the policy here. And then there's a listing of the covered diseases. Notice that skin cancer is a flat $250 benefit, but it's a pretty long list. There's the definition of the wellness benefit. So $50 wellness on accident and critical illness. One thing to note on the critical illness wellness, it says it right here, after coverage is enforced for 90 days. Then go have your wellness exam done, and then you'll receive the $50 from Chubb. And the last one is the pet insurance, and this is one flyer, but you saw the system is separated 3 ways. So you have the health insurance, where in the system you just click to get a quote, and it notifies them on the back end that they're interested, basically. That's all you do in the system, though. And then the discount plan, there's a price for it in the system. Here it is, $8 for 1 pet, $11 for unlimited number of pets, but that's also in the system, and that you do actually enroll right there. And then prescription savings plan, there are the rates. Of course, they're in the system, and you actually enroll that in the system as well. Now, Julie, should we on the insurance part of this? Well, Jim mentioned that they would follow up, but should we direct employees to that website to actually get a quote to enroll?
Yeah, so it was my understanding that they, when they get to that site, yeah, that's going to put them into the enrollment mode.
Oh, okay. It didn't sound that way from Jim, or unless I missed that.
Well, and so it's a newer benefit, so I don't know. We're learning the intricacies, and I'll see if I can get greater detail. But my understanding, gee, unless you understood differently, I thought that once they clicked on that link, it was going to ask them to complete the information.
That was my understanding as well. I'll send Jim an email right now on that.
Okay. Thank you. And then Jim owes us the link to the test site so that we can do a little navigation here with a few days here before the enrollment begins. So I know that we kind of, the system demo took probably longer than I thought it would, but that's okay. We've got all this recorded. I'll send the recording out after the training here. And then, like I said, I will do another training Friday evening, certainly for Brenda, because you came late, and then for anyone else that wants to join as well. But with this link to this training website, basically, with the test link that Jim's going to provide us and test employees to navigate through, I think we're in a very good place here. And it's only Wednesday, so we have time to do this. Otherwise, for the enrollment team, you can ask your questions to me afterwards, and I can circle back if I don't know the answers. Julie or G, anything else to add before we end here?
The only thing, and I know it's not on any of our enrollment information, and Scott, maybe I can flip you a flyer, but you know, all of our information, we try to put everybody through. If they've got questions after enrollment, we try to push them to contact MyQ Health, which is like a one-stop shop for any assistance that they need if they're seeking care and those types of things. So I'll flip you that flyer.
Okay.
Because that's the information that they'll see when they get their ID cards and stuff.
Okay, that'd be good to have. G, anything? Okay. All right. And I saw Joe jump on here.
You have to jump off.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, thanks everyone. And for my team, of course, I'll be circling back with you. You all have my number, but I'll be in touch with all of you later. But thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not going to be able to make it.